So let me thank the judges who gave their time voluntarily to this exciting project. Your personal stature, as you are all highly regarded leaders in your respective fields, has added substantially to the respect with which finalists and winners will be treated in the year to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are those wearing a corsage. If you get a chance, approach them, discuss the context of the applications, and thank them. Of course, congratulations to the winners. Thank you for the opportunity you've given to us to come together and celebrate your success. So it's obvious to me that the Internet Industry Awards are a timely and appropriate response to the growth of the internet industry in New Zealand, and that this is the format in which to celebrate its achievements. So the trustees are proud of these awards and grateful for the wonderful response from government, industry, and the internet. And with your support, we look forward to building on tonight's successes in the years to come. Thank you. Frank, I think just alcohol might be needed, not adrenaline. Let me move to someone who won't strain your ears quite the same. It gives me extraordinary pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker for tonight, Dr. Wellington Cerf. Vint is known around the world as the father of the internet, arising from his co-invention in 1973 of the key protocol which makes the internet work, TCP, the Transmission Control Protocol. 1974, this was augmented to become TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. Now, the internet, forgive me for those of you who have a slightly better technical understanding than I do, the internet is a packet-switched network in which information is broken down into small packets and sent individually over many different routes at the same time, and then assembled at the receiving end. And TCP is the component that collects and reassembles the packets of data. That means that your email arrives in the same way that you sent it. For this invention, Vint and co-inventor Bob Kahn received the US Medal of Freedom from President George W. Bush, the Turing Award for Computing, and I just selected two of the more prominent of a host of extraordinary awards, very well merited, that Vint and Bob Kahn received for that invention. And I've come to know Vint well from our time together at ICANN. Vint was the chairman of the board of ICANN for 8 years preceding my term, and in that time I learned a huge amount from him, both technically, about the politics of the internet, how to chair large public meetings, and much, much more. But I want to let you know tonight that there is much more to Vint than this brief technical summary can ever convey. He's a warm, caring man and one with a great sense of humour. So here is a brief extract from one of Vint's less well-known publications. 'Twas the night before Christmas, the startup, and all through the net not a packet was stirring, no bit nor octet. The engineers rattled their cards in despair, hoping a bad chip would blow with a flare. The salesmen were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of data nets danced in their heads. And I, with my datascope, tracings and dumps, prepared for some pretty bad bruises and lumps. When out in the hall there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my desk to see what was the matter. And so it goes. You can Google the rest. Google, a new verb. And the company that Vint now works for as its chief internet evangelist, a company that we are delighted has allowed us this further access to this unique, talented individual, and one that the Dengate-Thrush Foundation is absolutely delighted to have us address tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Vint Cerf.
Tēnā koto, tēnā koto, tēnā koto katoa. I'm told that that's the proper formal greeting to begin. But I don't have any more command of Maori than that. I have to tell you that my occasion to meet Liz was very brief, but it was at Peter's 50th birthday party, which I understand was kind of an interesting arrangement because you'd already celebrated it at least once, but many of us didn't get an opportunity to welcome you to this aged plateau. So I had a chance to meet Peter and Liz and his family, and I treasure that time greatly. I also treasure very much the opportunity to be here again in Wellington. But as I listened to Peter's remarks, I felt almost as if he'd left me with very little to say. Sometimes when I come to events like this and contemplate how long ago the work on the internet began, 1973 by some reckoning, and even earlier if you think about the invention of packet switching and its application, which would have been 1961 and 62. I feel a little bit like the story of the talking dog. I don't know if you're familiar with this story, but a man discovers a dog that can talk. So he takes the dog to various events, and of course people are rapt listening to this dog. They don't care what the dog has to say. They're only amazed that the dog can actually speak. And so I feel like the talking dinosaur at meetings like this. But I truly do appreciate the opportunity to address you tonight. One of the things that I also want to thank Peter for is for his willingness and ability to take up the reins as chairman of ICANN in a time frame when a great deal is happening both to ICANN and to the internet. Peter alluded to two of the important things that were happening, the introduction of internationalized domain names and the introduction of IP version 6. By the way, Peter, we went from version 4 to version 6. Some people might wonder what happened to version 5. The answer to that is that it was a protocol that was intended to support streaming video and audio, and it did not scale very well. So we abandoned version 5 and went on to version 6. One of the things that brings me here to New Zealand is in fact a series of IP version 6 conferences, one of which was scheduled this morning in Auckland, where Keith Davidson and I and some others in the room participated. Another one will take place tomorrow, and earlier this week there was one in Christchurch, if I remember correctly. So there is an intense effort to bring awareness in the technical community of the need for moving towards the IPv6 protocols. I have to tell you, Peter, that 340 trillion number is only a number that the Chinese parliament can appreciate, or Politburo or something. Although I used to go around telling everybody that meant that there were enough internet addresses so every electron in the universe could have its own web page. Until I got a note from somebody at Caltech saying, "Dear Dr. Cerf, you jerk, there's 10 to the 88th electrons in the universe, and you're off by 50 orders of magnitude." Oh, I don't say that anymore.